her face. Competitive.
The WNBA did not vote on a new hierarchy, but it is forming anyway, and the tension is impossible to hide. Caitlin Clark versus the old guard is no longer a debate about respect. It is a power shift that is already in motion.
Look at Wheeler staring to the right side, knows who's there, drop pass behind. Could be the deepest shot we've seen Caitlin Clark make as a...
The generational divide inside the WNBA did not begin with Caitlin Clark, but her arrival forced it into the open in a way the league had never experienced before. For years, veteran stars carried the league through lean seasons, fought for visibility, negotiated for respect, and built the foundation that today's players benefit from. Then Clark arrived with unprecedented attention, historic numbers, and a cultural pull that instantly changed the conversation. But guess what? When a new generation arrives with more leverage than the previous one ever had, gratitude quickly turns into discomfort. Clark's presence has accelerated a transition the league was not emotionally prepared for, even if it was financially desperate for it. Television partners, sponsors, and casual fans did not slowly warm up to her. They flooded in immediately. That instant validation altered power dynamics in locker rooms, front offices, and media narratives, creating a quiet friction between players who built the league and the player now reshaping it. The old guard never asked to be sidelined. Many of them are still elite, still productive, and still respected by purists of the game. But the ecosystem around them has changed. Coverage that once highlighted veteran leadership now centers on generational impact. Storylines that once focused on championships now pivot toward influence and reach. That shift is subtle, but it is relentless. Hold on for what's coming, because this is not just about one player being popular. Caitlin Clark represents a new model of value, one driven by visibility, audience expansion, and cultural relevance rather than longevity alone. In previous eras, power came from tenure and titles. In this era, power comes from attention, and Clark commands more of it than anyone who came before her. Veterans feel this in ways they rarely articulate publicly. Interviews become more careful, praise becomes more measured, silence replaces endorsement. It is not hostility, but it is not warmth either. When asked about Clark's impact, some voices emphasize balance, team play, or the importance of the league as a whole. Those answers sound diplomatic, but they reveal anxiety about being overshadowed in a moment they helped create. The generational tension sharpens because Clark does not play the expected role of the grateful newcomer. She respects the game and its history, but she does not minimize herself to fit into it. She plays boldly. She speaks with confidence. She occupies space without apology. That posture unsettles a culture that long required women athletes to earn attention slowly and cautiously. But guess what? The league no longer operates under those rules. The audience Clark brought in does not wait for consensus or tradition. They follow momentum. They follow storylines. They follow stars. And that reality places veterans in an uncomfortable position where their authority no longer guarantees relevance. This is where the power shift becomes unavoidable. Media narratives increasingly frame the league around what comes next rather than what came before. Clark symbolizes the future, and futures are seductive. Every comparison, every debate, and every highlight reinforces the sense that the center of gravity has moved. Not will move, has moved. Speculation inside league circles suggests that this shift is affecting more than just coverage. Marketing strategies prioritize youth appeal. League initiatives focus on scalability. Expansion planning aligns with players who can anchor new fan bases immediately. These are business decisions, but they ripple through the locker room culture in ways that cannot be quantified easily. Veterans who once defined the league's identity now find themselves defending it. They emphasize fundamentals, tradition, and team-first values, not because they reject progress, but because those principles are where their authority still holds weight. Clark, meanwhile, represents evolution, whether she intends to or not. Her game stretches defenses. Her presence stretches expectations. Her popularity stretches patience. Hold on, because this tension does not explode in confrontation. It manifests in micro moments. A cold answer here, a dismissive comment there, a narrative framed as concern rather than praise. These moments accumulate, creating an undercurrent fan can feel, even if they cannot point to a single incident. What makes this shift irreversible is that it is supported by numbers. Ratings do not lie, attendance does not lie, engagement metrics do not lie. Caitlin Clark's impact is measurable, repeatable, and expanding. The old guard's influence, while still significant, operates within a system that now prioritizes sacrifices scale over. Legacy. Some veterans embrace this transition. They mentor younger players. They publicly acknowledge the league's evolution. They understand that progress often feels unfair to those who paved the way. Others struggle quietly. They wonder why their sacrifices feel discounted. They question why the spotlight moves so quickly. Those feelings are human, but they are also powerless against momentum. The league itself walks a delicate line. It cannot afford to alienate its veterans, who carry institutional memory and credibility. At the same time, it cannot slow the rise of a player who is driving unprecedented growth. Caitlin Clark forces the WNBA to choose between honoring the past and capitalizing on the present. And the truth is that compromise satisfies no one completely, but power shifts never wait for emotional readiness. They happen when conditions align, and right now, every condition favors change. Younger audiences dominate consumption. Social media rewards immediacy. Sponsorship dollars follow reach. Clark sits perfectly at that intersection, while the old guard represents a model built for a different era. The most uncomfortable speculation is that this divide could widen. As new rookies enter the league inspired by Clark's path, they arrive expecting attention, resources, and opportunity immediately. That expectation clashes with a culture built on patience and hierarchy. Veterans may view it as entitlement. Rookies view it as reality. Neither side is wrong, but the friction is real. This is not about disrespecting greatness. It is about redefining it. In the Clark era, greatness is not only measured by rings or seasons played, but by impact beyond the court. That shift reorders priorities and reassigns influence. Once that happens, there is no reset button. Hold on, because the league's future negotiations, marketing strategies, and expansion decisions will only reinforce this transition. Caitlin Clark's voice already carries weight in conversations about the league's direction. That level of influence this early signals a transfer of authority that no committee can reverse. Fans sense it too. Online debates frame veterans as obstacles or gatekeepers, while Clark is framed as progress. That framing is unfair, but it is powerful. Narratives shape perception, and perception shapes power. The old guard cannot win that battle without appearing resistant to growth. The generational shift is not a rejection of what came before. It is a reallocation of attention, influence, and expectation. Caitlin Clark did not take anything away intentionally. The system moved toward her because she fits what it needs right now, and that is why this moment feels so charged. It is not loud, but it is definitive. The league is changing hands without ceremony, and everyone can feel it happening. The WNBA is not choosing between generations, but the future has already made its case. Caitlin Clark versus the old guard is not a fight, it is a transition, and it cannot be stopped. But the future has already made its case. Caitlin Clark versus the old guard is not a fight, it is a transition, and it cannot be stopped.